for another 15.
Morning, y'all. Well, it's another day. When I bought this rig, I was told it had a newer motor in it, and from what I can see, that's probably true. The one thing this doesn't have is an oil pressure gauge, so there's really no way of knowing how the bearings are. So what we're gonna do is put on one of these kind of generic Summit gauges, and the gauge mounting cup. It'll look okay in there, but it'll give me an indication of how the engine really is. I think we're just going to mount it to the steering column using a gigantic hose clamp. Anyway, I'm going to go search for a hose clamp, get the gauge mounted, and then we'll figure out how to mount it on the engine. Okay, so I got the gauge loosely mounted on the column. It's just sitting up there. Now what I need to do is clamp it onto the column. I can guarantee I don't have the clamp here. I'm going to have to make a trip into town again. Here's how we can figure out what size clamp we need. Can either eyeball it and say, well, that's about a 3-inch column, or you can wrap the tape around, get your measurement, and divide it by roughly 3. So I'm going to call that 11 inches. 11 inches divided by 3 is roughly 3 1/4 ish. So we need a clamp probably that goes from 3 1/2 inches down to 3. Well, I got my clamp. It was such a nice day, I took the Super 73 out, went to town on it. So we'll set you down right here. So for those of you who don't know, you can pull the bit out, and probably on one of these multi-drive screwdrivers you have one that's perfect for doing hose clamps. So we'll get this gauge hose clamped in, and then we'll run the hose out to the engine. Okay, so I got the gauge mounted in the cup with the little curly Q always leaks line out the back. So now that we got this mounted up, we'll get the clamp, tighten it down, then we'll go outside under the hood. Good enough. Okay, the oil pressure switch sensor is at the back of the intake manifold, kind of behind the distributor. Y'all ever have a GoPro just fall into a running engine? Because I did. I'll flash a picture up here to show you the damage. Okay. Big gorilla hands. Oh, got it to move. Probably all you guys can see is the back of my fat head. Come on. See if we can twist it out by hand now. Yep. Let's get you guys in a better spot. Okay, can you see now? Probably not. Come on. Success. Now let's see if we can thread the other one in. Can't even see the hole. So I threw a couple wraps of Teflon tape on the new fitting. This is brass, so you don't want to go ape shit on this. Just want to get it good and snug. Okay, she's in there. Now I'm gonna feed the tube through one of the 900 holes that are in the firewall and connect it up to that fitting. Okay guys, moment of truth. Let's see what kind of pressure this engine actually has. Here we go. Well, that's a surprise. I figured this engine was junk and I was being lied to. Seems like it's got plenty of pressure. Guess we ought to do an oil change on it next. All right guys, next up is a oil change, and while I'm under there I'll take a peek at the shifter, see if I can understand anything under there. I'm not going to show how to do an oil change. You guys already know that. If you don't, there's better YouTube channels to look up a tutorial on. If I do find something interesting on the shifter, I'll tell you. Alright, be back in a few. So what's next on this? Write it down in the comments. I think for me it'll be the regular tune-up stuff. Spark plugs, wires, that sort of stuff. But we'll see.